What is going on, guys? My name is Jay Kraft with the Facebook group Bolorama Pickers Lounge, and I'm here again today with another in-depth training video. Last time we spoke, we talked about maturing an eBay account, and if you're new to eBay, I did a great video talking about how to reduce your shipping cost. Both of those are going to be in the description down below. Now, I know what you're thinking. Jay, why on earth is this video to teach me about how to list items on an iPad so long? And I'm in the process of making it right now. I don't know how long it is. I know it's going to be long, but it's because it's an in-depth breakdown. If you're looking for the quick answer on how to list things on your iPad, well, you take pictures and you put them online. There you go. But if you want all the answers, maybe you're new to eBay, maybe you've heard people talking about how much quicker, easier, and faster and efficient it is to list on an iPad, okay, and there's an iPad in here, and that's why you're here, well, spare me your time, because the time you invest with me right now will pay dividends in the future. If you're spending, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes per listing doing it on a computer, or 3 or 4 minutes doing it on a phone, what if I told you that it takes me an average of 60 to maybe 100 seconds to list an item on an iPad? And that includes taking the pictures as well. It's a very, very quick process that does require some practice and does require some understanding of the fields and how the app does function. One of the biggest takeaways that I can share with you guys, though, is that everything is integrated right here in the device. What you're seeing is an iPad Air First Edition placed inside of a Zag Folio case with a keyboard. Now, I know what you're thinking. Jay, I don't have the money to buy one of those things. This isn't expensive, not in any way, shape, or form. Obviously, expensive is subjective. This iPad cost me $100 used, and you can get one on eBay for about that price. And this case, this Zag Folio case, you can get for about anywhere from $15 to $30 if you want the backlit keys or not. I prefer the backlit. This one doesn't have it, but I have a second one that does have it, and I would say it is worth the extra money, especially if you plan to list at night, or if you want the colored keys. They'll do a whole rainbow of different colors for you. But the big advantage is the fact that this device has a camera built into it, and a good camera at that. So it gives you the opportunity to take your pictures, use the keyboard, type up a description if you need to. It even has a paste button here at the top that allows me to drop my autofill in, and the integration of the app makes the process very smooth. For the simple fact that we're not touching a keyboard and mouse over and over and over again, we're simply touching the screen to navigate through the menu and efficiently list items out. But as I said, this is a long training video because we're not looking to cater to the person who's been selling online for 3, 4, 5 years. You know what everything means. I'm looking to work with the person who maybe just started on eBay, or their workflow isn't that great. If it's taking you 5-10 minutes to put a listing up, you're doing something wrong, and I'm going to show you how to speed that whole process up with some very simple and intuitive tricks that you can use, and I promise you, this video will be worth your time. But before we get into the nit and grit and we switch over to this screen right here, I'm going to ask you take a moment, you click like on this video, you click the subscribe button. If you're new to me, which I know some of you are, you've never seen my face before, you have no clue who I am or what I do, every single Sunday I do a show called the Reseller Roundup, and we cover e-commerce news, practical training, and I show every single item I purchase that week, where I'm going to be listing it, how much money I expect to make off of that item, and some of the little bits of things that you should know for each item if you go out there in the field looking for one yourself. So if you need a mentor, you need a coach, you need somebody by your side to help you through this e-commerce journey, my name's Jay. I'm here to help you. Let's get started on this adventure. So before we get started into the nit and grit of how the eBay app works, it's important that we are both on the same page with each other. So with your iPad, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to click on the settings option and make sure we click on the general tab. Now, if you click on this and where it says software update, if you have a 1 or a 2 or just a colored number there, you're going to want to stop what you're doing and get your device updated. Getting yourself on the newest version of iOS is going to help the device not only run faster, but it's going to enable you to use the newest version of the eBay app. Today is April 16th, 2019. If you are watching this video more than a year later, check for a newer one. And then there's probably also going to be a dedicated seller app training video. If there is one, it will be in the description of this video, as well as some of the other resources that we talked about earlier. If you do have the newest version, what we're going to want to do from there is we're going to want to head over to the App Store. We're going to want to make sure that we have the newest version of that available as well. I'm referring to the eBay app, that is. So when you get inside of your App Store, just type in eBay real quick. If your keyboard wants to play friendly, there we go. When you pull it up, if your eBay app, you can see it here in the top right corner, if it says open, that means that you have the newest version. If it says update, that means you're going to have to update, and then you're going to be able to get the process started with us. So I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm going to click the open button. If you need to, pause the video. We'll come full circle. We'll wait for you. So here we are on our eBay home screen. We're going to talk about some of the options that this app has for us. A little bit of it is redundant, but that's fine. Our home screen is going to give us our basic information. What have we sold? What kind of coupons do we have? What items have we been looking at recently? Your My eBay tab is going to show your inbox. It's going to show you items that you are watching. The search option is going to allow us to find items, which is one of the biggest pieces that other sellers look over, is they don't use the search option to be able to compare and contrast and then use the sell one like this function, which we're going to get to. And if you haven't done so yet, if you're brand new to eBay, get a pen and paper. Take notes. I can promise you, writing some of this stuff down will really help lock it in. If you need to, come back and watch the video again and share it with somebody else you know. Maybe it can help them out as well. We're going to go ahead and click cancel. Our notifications tab is going to show us some of the items that we have sold. I've had a huge week. It's a great week. The top one sold for $30, the next one sold for $170, and then the bottom one there sold for $350. I love eBay. And then the next tab over is your selling tab. I'm not going to click on it just for account security purposes, but it's going to show your volume of sales. It's going to show how many active, how many completed, those type of things. It's going to show you there. It's also going to show you your drafts. If you have more than 20 drafts, eBay will not allow you to make another listing on the tablet until you've cleared those drafts out. And that's not just for iOS. And when I say iOS, I'm referring to Apple. It's also for Android as well. So make sure you don't get too many drafts going at once. Obviously, that can change with updates. So what we're going to do is we're going to work with some of the pictures that I took earlier today. I went down to my little photo area. I was missing one of my lights. I think my roommate was using it, so I was only able to take some really low quality photos of the items that I had just dead on, but I just wanted to get a couple of photos of some items that I haven't listed yet so I can show you my workflow process to get them uploaded online. So what we're going to do first is we're going to head over to our gallery to see which items that we have that we need to sell. Gallery is also known as photos. And we can see here, we've got our Zarbee's Elderberry Immune Support. I did find a couple of these the other day, very pleased about finding them. So we have those that we're going to be listing. There's an image of the front and the back. And then we also have this cute little Kelly Toys, looks like some type of angel dog. We're going to be listing that up as well. But we're just going to be doing sample listings. I won't actually be placing these active online, not right now, and not with these low quality photos. We are going to be doing a tutorial in the future showcasing how to take great photos. There's a ton of other ones online as well, but if you want my own flavor on it and the methods that I use for success, stick around. It'll be coming in the future. So now that we know what we're going to be working with, which is the Zarbee's Elderberry, it's a 42 count, and we're going to be looking to sell 2 bottles at one time to reduce our shipping cost. We're going to head back over to the eBay app now. And at any point, you can use 4 fingers and you can slide back and forth between apps here on the iPad as well. A nice little tool for saving yourself some time. So you can see here that I've already searched it before. I wanted to make sure that it was an item that it was going to be good for this training video. When you type it in, it's going to be using the best match search filter, which is going to bring everything up. For the way that I want to list, especially this type of product, we're only going to want to look at the buy it now options. Reason being is that auction prices are kind of all over the place and very inconsistent. An item isn't going to sell for the same amount on Christmas morning as its final day as it would, let's say, 5 p.m. Friday the 15th when it ends, or 6 p.m. when it ends right around dinner time after everyone's gotten paid. So with that level of variation, I focus all of my pricing on eBay with the buy it now format. But of course, there's going to be fringe scenarios with antiques and collectibles and vintage items where an auction is going to be better suited. But for today's training, we're going to be looking at buy it nows. As a 10-year seller on eBay, 99+% of my items are buy it now items that have utilized the 30 days good till canceled option online. I know that as of recording this, there's a lot of contention as many sellers have used the 7-day, 10-day, and 30-day listing options, and they're not a fan of the good till canceled. I can say wholeheartedly that it is the best option for listing items online, and it has netted me hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales using those specific options. So let's go ahead and refine these searches down just a little bit. We're going to start by clicking the sort button in the top corner, and we're going to move it over to price plus shipping lowest first. So if we have an item that's $10 plus 4 shipping and an item that is $15 with free shipping, the $14 one is going to appear first. It's combining the two together and showing us the lowest option with the two combined together. So we can see here in the top left corner, we have one available at $9.50. I know what you're thinking. Man, that's not that great. Well, this item is listed incorrectly. Why? Because it does not seem to have the correct product catalog with it. As you can see here, it has 2 reviews, but there's another one available that's showing 7 reviews, and that's the one that we're going to be working with. So I'm trying to see if I can get some specifics on this item. Now, looking at the active listings alone is not enough to determine how much you should list your item for. Sometimes you can get away with that, but I do recommend looking at completed, not only when you're getting ready to list the item, but when you're actually out buying the item. Sometimes you're going to have something great, you're going to think it's amazing, and you're going to go look at completed, and there's going to be hundreds of unsold ones, and just simply no one's buying the item at any price. Now, these Zarbies are a bit of an exception. You're going to be able to see on screen they sell exceptionally well, but there's still a lot of variations in the listings. Some of the listings sell for quite a bit more than others. Some of the listings have better titles than others. Some of them have varying expiration dates. We really need to make sure that we hammer down on which listing we want, as well as the title that we want to work with. So I'm scrolling through and I found one that met both of the requirements. It's on the 2-2020, which is the expiration, or it's 2000. It is 2020 expiration date, as well as having the core principles, things that I want to see in the title as far as construction of it, the item name, the product type, EXP, and just all the basic stuff that you're going to want to see in there without all of that extra fluff going along with it. I always tell people to avoid just jamming in a bunch of keywords into the title that don't really have any bearing on the item. I know that it kind of seems wasteful to leave that extra space behind, but when we're talking about Google and how people find your items, about 40% of my sales on eBay come through traffic from Google, and it's all because of search engine optimization, and having titles that are stuffed or keyword stuffed titles doesn't help Google find your item. It makes it harder. It gives it a lower rank. So we found a great title, and we're going to be moving on to the next step, which is selecting the item and choosing the sell one like this option. And from there, you're going to see that the listing is now going to be populated with all the information of that item. So with the sell one like this function, you're going to see that the title has gotten pulled across, as well as a lot of the item specifics, which we're going to be talking about here in a moment. The top option on this new version of the iPad app, which is even fresh to me, it wants our photos right now. So we're going to go ahead and start off by choosing our photos and importing them across. Now you're going to see there's a camera option here, which we're going to be looking at a little bit later in this episode. But for now, we're going to be clicking on the photo library and taking a look at items that we've already taken images of. So select your photo library, and then you're going to want to choose your images in the order that you want them to appear. Now you're going to be able to switch that order around later if you'd like, but this is the way that we're suggesting you do it. Just click them in that order that you would like them. From here, you're going to be able to bring up some additional options with each image. The first one up is going to be the ability to rotate your image. Sometimes with your iPad, you may have taking your image in the wrong direction, you're going to want to make sure that you're able to spin it around. It only goes one direction, but that's all you're going to need. Make sure it's rotated the right way, and then the next option over from that is the brightness slider. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. This slider is probably one of the worst things as far as being able to make your images look better. There is never, ever a reason to use this, as it is not actually adjusting your brightness in the way that you would want it to be adjusted. What it's doing is it's laying over some opacity of white or black, and you'll notice that it's not actually bringing out more whites or lowering down the dark, so never use this function. And the last one here, all the way at the end, is going to be your crop tool. Now this one is a very valuable tool as an eBay seller to be able to make your images look much better. Now the reality is you're going to want to make sure that your images look great right off the bat. And like I said, these ones were taken just as example photos. I'm going to show you at the end of this video. We're actually on day 2 of this project, so I've gone in a little bit of a different direction. I'll show you me actually listing an item and taking the photographs and doing them in a way that does not require any post-production work whatsoever. So if you take the image right the first time, you're not going to have to come in and crop your photos. I can't think of the last time that I've had to crop an image on eBay, so just try and get it right the first go around. But if you need to, here's how you get it done. You just go ahead and grab your slider, pull it down to where you want it, and slide it into position. You can punch in a little bit closer if you'd like, but I'd recommend leaving a bit of room around the outside of the item. That way, either you can get a better perspective on scale, or for the simple fact that it's more pleasing on the eye. When an item is cut exceptionally tight, it's very difficult to look at it and enjoy the look of the image. And a lot of people, a lot of consumers, we shop based on emotion. So if an item looks beautiful and it looks the part, then you're going to have a little bit more success when it comes to selling on eBay. You also want to make sure, while I'm on the topic too, make sure your background is clear. Don't put items on the ground. Don't put them on top of a coffee table. Go down to the fabric store and spend $15 on a piece of fabric, or even go on eBay and spend $7 or $8 and order a nice piece of fabric that isn't going to reflect too much light, something that's a little bit more matte, and then take your photos on top of that and just ease the entire process for yourself. But like I said, we'll have another video for photographs down the line. The next huge category of thing to worry about is categories. Yes, I went and did that. But there's a lot to learn when it comes to categories, and importing the listing and using the sell one like this is very valuable because it's going to bring across the category that the item was already in. And when you have an item that has the great reviews with it, or if you have an item that has good sell-through, you can see that it's completed maybe more than once even, and you bring that item across, you're going to get the category with it as well. And if you don't have the category, trying to find the correct category can be an absolute nightmare. When it comes to scrolling through the options and trying to figure out, if I told you right now, where do I list candles at? Did you know that it's under home and garden? Most people want it. And being able to work your way through the tree to find what you're looking for can take a long, long time. And even Google searches and even digging around on eBay isn't going to be a much help. So when using categories, if you can bring the correct one across, great. And believe it or not, sometimes with really complex items, if I can't find the correct category and the one that I've brought across isn't good enough, I'll scrap it and I'll start again and import an item that does have the correct category. And in time, though, you will come to learn what goes where. But eBay does have a tendency to move them around. But don't feel bad either. There's over 25,000 different categories that items can go into. So this is important to try and do it the quickest way possible. Store categories, however, are a little bit different than eBay categories. Store categories are ones that you make specifically for yourself and for your consumers, and don't necessarily reflect eBay's catalog itself. So, for instance, if I'm somebody who deals in Wiener Schnitzel collectibles, which is a restaurant out here on the West Coast, they could have antenna toppers, they could have stuffed animals, they could have advertising signs, and it's assorted memorabilia. I wouldn't expect eBay to have a specific category for that, but if I'm somebody who's a huge fan of that stuff, I may have a category within my specific store that my customers or anyone who is visiting the page may want to be able to see all of the other items that I offer in that category. Now, it doesn't even have to be hyper specific like that either. You can say arts and crafts supplies or rubber stamps or whatever type of item that you have a good amount of. You wouldn't want to create individual store categories for something that you may only have one or two of that type of item in. For instance, baseball cards. If I have 2 baseball cards that are of high value, I wouldn't build a store category for that. But if I have, let's say, 100 sports collectible goods, or if I have maybe trading cards across 50 or 60 different categories that I want to consolidate for somebody who may have that cross interest, this would be the option to use. So for me, I have 2 that I'm using, one where I'm working with artwork and one where I'm liquidating goods from a separate store. And by having compiled those, I've been able to generate increased sales in those areas. So using store categories effectively can increase sales. Plus, it makes it easier for you to be able to manage markdown specials as well as maintain and manage your own personal inventory. Give them a shot if you like them, but if you're a variety seller like myself and you have items in about 150 to 200 different types of individual categories, it may not be the best option for you, and you may want to consider saving your time, especially if you're a seller that already has 1,000 to 2,000 items active who've never used categories. The time that you invest into it may not pay dividend or may not be worth your trouble on the back end. Up next, we're taking a look at the item details, formerly known as item specifics. The item details covers everything that anyone would need to know regarding the specifics of this item. Now, I know you're looking at this and it looks a bit overwhelming. There's a lot of information on this page, but again, this is why we use the Sell One Like This feature. You're able to see that the item's brand, country of origin, expiration date, other specific product identifiers, whether it be manufacturer's part numbers or UPCs, all of this goes in there, and with some luck, it's going to be completed for us. And this, again, harkens back to selecting the correct type of listing right off the get-go. And there's a lot of these little tips and tricks that many people don't use, and they'll sit there and they'll complain that listing an item takes 10 to 15 minutes on eBay, but they're simply doing it the long way and the wrong way. And we'll come back here towards the end as we're unfortunately going to have to come back to punch in that UPC, which is going to be a good thing for everyone to learn how to do. But these item specifics, this is where you're going to be placing in your item's condition as well. Each category has specific rules and regulations regarding what is new, what is used, what is like new. If you're unsure for the specific category, because there's a difference between business supplies and books as far as what's considered like new, you're going to want to read eBay's official terms of services regarding item condition notes to get a better understanding of which category you should put your item into as far as condition is concerned. Up next, we have our item description, and it goes without saying that I could make an entire video alone on this single topic. But the best way to summarize up what needs to go into your description is anything that you feel is necessary for the customer to know that is not already included in the listing. So if the item is marked as, let's say, parts were not working, it wouldn't be necessary to repeat it again. Now, could you? Of course, it doesn't hurt to try and cover your own butt. But if, let's say, the expiration date or the country of origin and other specifics like that, if it's already in the description, there's no need to punch it in. Now, eBay has imported across what looks like either an aggregate of information from the existing listing or it's copied over the description from the other seller. So it's important to make sure that your description is an accurate representation of your item, because if any part of the listing is wrong, the item specifics, the title, or the description, then you can get dinged with an item not as described case if the customer gets something that doesn't reflect what was stated within the listing. So for this one, we just jammed in a little bit of extra information, but on the next one, you'll see as I'm going to be using what I call an autofill, which covers everything that a customer would need to know, as well as a little salesman info. We'll talk about that one on the next item. We talked about this before, and I know I'm sounding a bit redundant right now, but there is so much that goes into appropriately listing an item. I felt it best to get back on camera and talk with you for a moment about the difference between auctions and buy it now. Like I said, 99+% of my listings are buy it now listings. They've been that way for 10 years as a seller on eBay, and the climate has changed from where doing auctions used to be something that was really sought after, and people would go crazy for that auction fever and start bidding like mad. But if you're coming to eBay and you've heard about the auctions and you think you're going to make a fortune, it's really not that way anymore. Now, there are going to be some items that you will want to auction, but the general rule of thumb is with the opening bid, you don't want to start it any lower than what you would be willing to accept for the item. So my cell phone here, for instance, okay? Let's say the phone is worth $600, okay? But I know I don't want to get anything less than $500. I would start an auction at that minimum ask price. Now I'm going to pay a little bit more in fees to run it that direction, but I'm guaranteeing that I'm not going to get less than what I want for it. And that in itself is what's ultimately destroyed the auction mentality, because before we used to be able to start auctions for a penny or $1, and there was millions of people actively looking for auctions and participating in them, and that's not the way anymore. The millions of consumers have been switched over to the Amazon style mindset where you go online, you look for what you want, you click it, you buy it, and then you get it sent out to you. And that's why buy it now listings are so powerful. When it comes to buy it now listings, you're setting the price that you want for the item, you're listing the item online, photos, description, etc., and if somebody buys it, they're paying that specific price for it. Now you also have the option to have a buy it now price. Let's say I know this is worth $600, I want $600 for this. I can leave a best offer option as well, to where a consumer would have the opportunity to submit an offer to me for any amount, and I can set minimums that I would like to get, and I can also set maximums to where if they do offer, let's say I want at least 5, anything above 500 I will automatically accept. I don't have to be there for it. But anything below, let's say 400, I don't even want to entertain and will automatically be denied. So there are a lot of ways to play with it, but I personally recommend buy it now with no offers available. What it allows you to do, it allows you to present a very specific price and stand firm with that price. It doesn't stop somebody from messaging you and just asking and then you being able to send them an offer of your liking. But I like the idea of knowing that I am confidently placing a price and I am not opening the door for negotiations. When an item is priced correctly right off the bat, you're going to get sales to come through with that pricing, opposed to this crazy notion of taking a $600 item, for instance, and saying, I'm going to list it for $800 and then I'm going to be willing to take offers. This is a horrible idea. Do not do this. Your sales volume will tank, or you will never take off to begin with. People want the Amazon experience on eBay. They want to go online, get a good price, buy the item, and be on their way. If they have to send an offer and they have to wait days and days to hear back, or even hours, and then still get countered back with higher offers. And then the other thing too, it has to do with visibility. If this item, a very popular item, has 2,000 or 3,000 listings, if you search Note 8 on eBay, I guarantee you there's a couple thousand of these phones available. If the starting price starts at $600 for ones in similar condition, and I'm all the way up here at $800, do you think anyone is going to see it? Do you think eBay is going to serve this one up? Do you think Google is going to serve this up to a consumer? Or do you think they're going to show them the 2,000 phones that are cheaper than yours that are essentially the exact same item? playing this type of game where you feel you can get more money or get one over on the consumer, it doesn't really happen. And if you have a fringe scenario where that's happened for you, great. But what we're talking about is long-term, sustainable, repeatable success. For some people, you're going to be watching this. You've watched this all the way through to here so far. You've never listed an item online in your entire life, and you're getting maybe a little bit excited about the prospect because it's looking a little bit easier. Or you are watching and you're somewhat of a seasoned seller, and you understand it's not about getting rich today. Okay, the amount of money I make today means nothing. Okay, it's about long-term sustainable growth for your store, your brand, your e-commerce experience as a whole. Because this is great that it's worth $600, but it's only worth $600 when somebody is willing to pay that price. Okay, a bird in the hand. And once I have this money, guess what? $600 gives me the buying power to go out and get $5,000 to $6,000 worth of inventory, and then I take that and I come back and list it all online, rinse, wash, repeat. It's as simple as that. So here's a little bit of a visual to show you the listing process with the new app. You're going to want to toggle the auction option off. You're going to want to toggle the buy it now option on. And you're going to want to set your price and carry on to the next field. And just a little bit of extra info on that last one where we were talking about the description. Because I did have 2 units of this product available, you're going to want to include that in the description. This sale is for 2 units. And while I'm talking about that photo, there's just so many little details to try and all get in. With the photos, if you have more than 1 unit in the photo, you will lose a case if you're not selling all of the stuff within that sale. So if I have, maybe a very, very beautiful picture that shows 9 of these and it's just stacked up and it looks gorgeous, but I'm only selling 1, okay? A customer can win a case stating that they believed they were going to get all 9 of them. Only include the number of units that are going to be included in the item that you are selling. And there's about 1,000 of these little things that everyone should know. And that's why you need to tune in every Sunday for the Reseller Roundup show, where if you have questions, you can get live answers, 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Let's carry on with some iPad training for now, though. The topic of shipping is a huge one, and that's the next category here on the eBay app. Now, I've gone out of my way and produced more tutorials than I can count on the topic of shipping, and predominantly cubic shipping. And if you're a seasoned seller and you don't know what cubic shipping is, I can guarantee you're throwing away money every single month on your shipping costs. But at a minimum, you need to go check it out. You're going to learn about how first class, priority, express, you're going to learn about all the different shipping options that are available to you and things that you need to know. Now, when it comes to selecting the correct shipping option here on the iPad, like I said, it imported across that information, and the basic thing that you're going to want to know is that providing free shipping is going to be one of the best things to help sell items online. We are going to be doing another video on standard pricing model and also talking about that. But by offering free shipping, it means that we are paying for the shipping, but actually the customer is paying for the shipping. And the way that works out is if you have an item that's available for $10 plus $5 shipping, how is that any different than an item that's available for $15 with free shipping? Well, the free shipping one increases your chances of selling it because of search rank. So it's going to be higher up not only in best match, but it's also going to be higher up in price plus shipping lowest first. So I recommend always using free shipping. And if you're looking at your item and you're saying, I can't afford to ship this item and still make any money, well, guess what? It shouldn't be on eBay. If somebody else has it listed and they're able to make money, you should be able to list it and make money too. Most times. There are some dumb people out there, and I hate to use that word, but it's the most fitting one, who don't know how to calculate their cost. We obviously have our shipping cost, the item cost, and we have our back-end fee cost between eBay and PayPal, about another 13 to 15%. Understanding all of your associative cost is going to save you a ton of money. So the long story short on how to do this is when you click in here, you're going to be seeing all of your options. Now, we have our package details. If you want to put them in, you can. Does it matter? Most times not. If an item is under a pound, it's going to be first class, and if it's over a pound, it's going to be some form of priority. If it's over 70 pounds, it's going to be UPS or FedEx. And then obviously you can use any one of those other options, but I'm providing you with the cheapest options available right now. And if you go ahead and click on where it says buyer pays off to the right, that little arrow there, this is where you're going to get the option to either charge a fixed price for your shipping. Maybe you have a item that would be good for flat rate, or you can select to have your self-pay, or essentially use the free shipping option for your consumer. On top of that, here's some options for global shipping or adding international shipping to your item. Being part of the global shipping program is a great thing. Make sure you get signed up for it. It's going to increase your sales volume and it costs you absolutely nothing. Makes it a ton easier to work with international sellers. It's the only way that I send packages internationally now. And then here at the bottom is some very important listing preferences. First one being the requiring of immediate payment. That one is one that I always turn on. It allows, or it stops essentially people from being able to purchase an item and not pay for it right away. And I hate it when this happens, so I turn that on every time. Some people will tell you there's advantages to it in the sense that you could hook a buyer and maybe they'll pay you on payday. But for me, I just worry I'm going to lose out on sales. And then the one below that is for accepting returns. I don't accept returns. If you'd like to, you can. Again, that's a whole nother video explaining the logic behind that. And then we also have handling time. Depending on how long it's going to take you to get something boxed up and take it to the post office is where you're going to decide that one as well. So this is a fairly comprehensive breakdown of all of the options here, and that little pencil thing at the bottom is how I accessed that last menu. And one more thing up above, if you'd like to donate to charity, you're going to be able to with that little slider as well, and you receive a special mark on your listing. Of course, though, you don't need eBay to be able to donate to charity. I strongly. So here we are. This is it. Everything that I have shown you so far, I'm going to be displaying on one last item. Now, originally, I was going to use this stuffed animal that I worked with, but I kind of hated the photos. I don't know. Like I said, I'm on day 2. So what I did is I went back downstairs. I got my other lights, set them both up so that way you could see the full experience of what it's like to list an item. And I used my iPad. I recorded the screen the entire time, and I'm going to be watching it back and very, very briefly explaining the process. And I want you to see this is what it's like for a seasoned seller to list an item. I am taking the item literally from my side, wrapping up the cord, placing it in front of me, and having done no research so far, searching the item, researching it, looking at active, looking at completed, determining a price, putting it online with the description, shipping options and everything, and then running it. And the time was less than 2 minutes to get that item done, which is what you should be aiming for with hard goods. Now, obviously, like if you have clothing and stuff to that effect, it's going to take you a little bit longer to get that done. So I'm going to play the clip back right now. I'm going to give you a play-by-play commentary of exactly what's going on. And this is something you should strive for. This is something you should be aiming to get done. So here we go. We are looking up the item right now. First thing, changing the refinement. We're looking for price plus shipping, lowest first, buy it now format. What I'm doing is I'm looking for identical match. I'm looking for a great photo, great condition, something that exemplifies the item. Now, I've sold one of these in the past. I have a little more knowledge than most. It's worth about $30. I can see here we have a really crummy photo, one listed for $25, but I do like the title on the listing, so I'm going to go ahead and copy this one so I can get that person's listing on there. From here, we're going to be taking brand new pictures. You saw the photo studio earlier, getting that picture squared up real nice and tight, coming in for another tight angle here on the side. Now we're going to go ahead and turn the item over, get a tight angle on the bottom. Boom. And then we also want to get an image of the cord so that we can show it's in good shape. There's no frays. Show the logo on the bottom. Now, this was all done in real time. None of this has been sped up at all. And this is to show the importance of doing it right. Now, you can see in the background, it's still adding those photos. I don't have to sit there and watch those upload. The title looked good. The item specifics looked good. And now we're coming in here. I'm fine with this pre-fill. I'm going to get rid of the thing that says priority because it may go first class, and I don't want that in there. A little bit of typo slowing me down there. And then I'm jamming in my autofill. If you would like an autofill like this, I'll be happy to get it over to you. Just join us on Facebook. Link is going to be in the description. Now we're selecting buy it now, punching in the price that we would like. Unfortunately, it takes me 2 goes. The app was being a little bit laggy. I guess I went for $24.99. I don't know. I should have asked for 30. It was a day ago now. And then listing the item up. I think maybe I was just going for speed, or sitting here today, I'd like $30, but I'm fine with listing it for $24.99 if that's what the market dictates. So that's how quick it was. It was less than 2 minutes to get that item listed online. Guys, the iPad is a fantastic tool to help speed up your business. Now, obviously, you're going to be moving the items around and stuff like that. But if you want to sit there and you want to get your listings done, you should be able to get 20 an hour done if you're dealing in hard goods. There's no reason why not. But this is everything you need to know. This is the full iPad breakdown. I know somebody's going to leave a comment saying, Jay, I think you missed this. It's a lot to explain, a lot to digest. But what I do need from you guys, and I don't ask for much, okay? Okay, maybe I've asked for quite a bit so far. But I need you to do me some favors. I need you to subscribe to the channel. I need you to like the video. And I need you to send this to people you think could benefit from it, okay? Whether that means posting it up in Facebook groups when you see people saying, how do I sell stuff online? Or if you know somebody who's selling online, you say, hey, I think I found something that's a little bit quicker for listing items online. This is a great way to help other sellers out. That's what this whole thing is for. If you really love this content, okay, and this is stuff that is important for you, and you want a little bit more mentorship, or you want to help support the creation of this content, sign up to be a Patreon member. And if you don't know what Patreon is, there's a link down in the description, as well as 100 other links at this point. But Patreon is a way for you, the viewer, to be able to connect and support content creators like myself who are going the extra mile to create high quality content. If you enjoy the quality of the editing, you enjoy the quality of the discussion and the banter, you enjoy just the overall experience of watching this video with me today, and you want to see more great content like that, that's the best way to do it, because every video I make literally costs hundreds, if not over $1,000 worth of lost revenue to be able to produce, because of the amount of time that goes into it. What you just watched right now took about 45 minutes for you to watch. It took me about 20 hours to produce. So keep that in mind when you're enjoying this YouTube content. But if nothing else, like I said, subscribe, go check out Pirate Ship, go check out our other video, come join our Facebook community, come be part of the fun. We have a great time together. And remember, I say this every single time, if you don't make that money, someone else will. See you soon.